Advent Sunday and the third weekend in December, and Advent this Sunday being joy. Our title is Let There Be Joy. And you know, Maggie, one of the things that I reflected on this morning before I went into the shower is these 4 values of Advent are not stepping stones. First we do faith, and then we do peace, and then we do love. They happen all together, and they swirl around. We get to use the light we need for any situation that we're facing, you know?
Absolutely. And I was thinking about that as well, how we have had the opportunity to strengthen each of those faculties, and how apropos that as we've moved through the Advent season, the Christmas season, how I have been presented with opportunities to really utilize those faculties. And as we come rounding the corner to the last week before Christmas, I love that we are celebrating joy. I love that I've seen for myself, and I've heard from many, many others, the indwelling focus, that time to restore and strengthen and aliven those faculties is reason enough to be joyous in celebration.
I love that. And our first quote is from the Bible, from Scripture. This is Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. The joy of the Lord is your strength. I love this. I love that we can call joy to be the very essence of the presence of God. Because God is always eternally present, ready, willing, and able to be there for us. And if we can identify that as the joy of God expressing is our strength, we can stand on the rock of joy and let that be a place where we can operate from. Because I love to be around joyful people. I love when I stop, I turn within, and a smile comes to my face because I know all is right now in this moment with that Christ presence. What do you think?
I think, absolutely. I love this being the scripture that we chose for today. The joy of the Lord is your strength. And it, for me, reminds me it's a promise of a finish line. It's a promise of, this is the circumstances. This is the growth opportunity. These are what we're working through in our individual lives. And reminding myself, being reminded through this scripture that our strength is in joy. It reminds me to persevere, to know that what is happening for me right now, what is happening in my outer circumstances is for me. I may not see it, and it may not feel great. I might not understand why this is unfolding the way it is, and maybe that's relatable for you in your life. But returning, drawing strength in the promise of joy to come is what keeps me putting one foot in front of the other. And we've talked about that a lot in the past year and a half since I've been here. And so I really appreciate the next wisdom that we're sharing from Joseph Campbell, where he says to find a place inside where there's joy, and the joy will burn out the pain. A really bold statement. I'm sure that Joseph Campbell did not know that there would be a pandemic in the 21st century that we would be enduring. And still, though we have seen a multitude of unprecedented things that have unfolded and come alive in our world this year in 2020, when I think of the loss and the strife and the audacious undoings of things, I'm also finding that strength of joy, knowing that we are persevering. Everything that's unfolded this year has been for our benefit and the benefit of the greatest collection of consciousness globally. So when I'm thinking about all that's been invited into my life to your life, it seems like it might be difficult to find joy to burn out the pain. The pain has been so ever present. And still, it's that strength and the promise of enduring to getting to that place of understanding and acceptance and returning to wholeness as a higher group in our collective consciousness. What do you think?
I think you're right on. And what's important for us to remember is we have survived.
Mm-hmm.
We've been through months of this global pandemic. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't always been easy, but there's also been amazing blessing. Mm-hmm. And when we can find that place inside us, because all this light, all these attributes of the Advent, and of course our 12 powers, are always innate within us. And we need not look very hard to look within and find it. And when we do, we have enough joy will alleviate that pain, that discomfort, that challenge. And when we can bring a smile on our face, then we can apply our faith and our hope and our love and our peace to bring about gratitude, mm-hmm. to bring about I'm willing to let go of this. I'm willing to move through this. I'm willing to do what I need to do to take the action to resolve whatever situation. And when we allow joy to be that guide, boy, it's easy to feel good about what we're doing, mm-hmm. because then we can find that zeal and enthusiasm to step out where before we were resisting. It was like, I don't know if I can deal with this. Mm-hmm. Which brings us to this next quote by the Unity minister, Mary Kupferle, also author. Joy belongs to you, whether you know it or not. It is yours now to discover, to use, to exercise, and to bring into expression. It's already present. And like anything that we possess that's ours, whether we know it or not, it's already there. And the key is to discover it. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, part of that is by engaging in practices like daily meditating and praying, like sitting down and knitting, or painting, or cooking, or being of service. All these things that bring me immeasurable joy. What do you think?
I love it. I love that. And when we were talking about this Sunday service, I thought to myself, joy is another principle, and principle works the same for all of us, no matter the circumstances. Joy doesn't treat me differently than it treats you or than it treats you. But we have the power within ourselves to train our thoughts on joy and to allow for joy. I think that because we've been in a particularly trying year, there may be a sense of not deserving joy right now, not being appropriate to laugh and to feel lighthearted. But laughter truly is one of the best medicines, getting out of our head and really feeling what it is to be alive in our body and restore our soul. So I love that you gave some examples of what brings joy to you. And so the invitation is for you to also think about what brings joy in your life. And though we may not be able to gather together, we may not be able to hug one another, I bet that if you really tap into your divine creativity and breathe to life the power of imagination. You'll remember, or you'll be willing to discover a way to connect, to enliven and lighten yourself in the feeling of joy. And I love that when we feel like we just can't do it anymore, or we just don't understand what's going on, or we just can't see how this is for us too. We can return to God, return to our Christ center, and know that joy is a part of our original DNA. It's our divine DNA that allows for us to smile and enjoy the journey guilt-free, which may be a little difficult this year in particular. And we have Randolph and Letty Schmeling saying that as you express as a joyous acceptance of life, you discover that those you meet begin to respond to you in an increasingly loving and helpful way. It's what you put out is what you get back. This is a tried and true law of circulation. It can be energy. It can be money. It can be your own vibration. I think about one in particular person that's been in my life that always just exudes joy. She's just grounded. She knows her Christ center. She knows truth. And she is a pleasant person to be around. It just spills out of her. And so that's my goal this week as we move into joy, is to really fill myself up, to know that I've put the time in faith and I've put the time in peace and I know who I am in love. And now, how do I bundle all of that up and into the bow that is Reverend Maggie and allow that gift of sharing of my joy to everyone I come in contact with. And when I'm not feeling particularly filled up or particularly grounded, that might be my cue to stay home, to take care of myself and not go out and just be a leech, someone that's just sucking from everyone around me trying to fill myself, but go internally to come back to where I know I can always replenish, refuel, and in that strength, I am able to celebrate and share of myself joyously. Don't you think?
I do. And I love it here so much. I love being here. I love New Braunfels. I love the beauty, the landscape. I love our weather. And it is my experience. I know I've shared this with you before, but it's my experience that every single person that I meet on the corner, in HEB, in Home Depot, no matter what, everyone I meet is so friendly, so nice, everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's my experience. I don't meet anyone who's unhappy. So my guess is everyone's happy to be here, because that joy infuses how people drive, how people show up in line, how people give space or be of service and help. It's just amazing to me how here in Texas, everyone's got the aloha spirit and they don't even know it. That's my experience. And that's what this is like when we are experiencing acceptance of life, then it will come to us. Mm-hmm. Which brings us to our closing quote from the immense wisdom of Martha Smock, who is head of Daily Word for many years. She says, your feeling of inner joy and your joyous attitude make you a giver of joy, a bringer of joy to others. Mm-hmm. This is so linked with what I just shared about my feeling of everyone here in the greater community. And when we can allow our own joy, and we can take the title today, Let There Be Joy. You can say that to yourself anytime. Let there be joy. And then find the joy inside and let it bubble up in how you show up, because what we give in the world comes back to us. So when we're a giver of joy, and we're bringing joy to our family, we're bringing joy to our phone calls, we're bringing joy into our light. We might be wearing a mask, but we can still express the joy in the light of our eyes. Mm-hmm. So this is such an incredible journey of the Advent season. And as we bring this talk to a close, remember that faith, peace, love, and joy are the foundation points of how we can drop into a clear awareness of birthing that Christ light within us and allowing that to be the light that lights the world.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.